I want to discuss the system covering the Prime Minister of India. Also, I may discuss with all of you regarding various provisions of the Prime Minister of India as enshrined in the Constitution of India. The Prime Minister is central to birth and formation of the cabinet. Remember, when the Prime Minister resigns from his post, the cabinet is disbanded. The portfolios are distributed as per the choice as well as changed as per the choice of the Prime Minister of India. He presides over the meetings of the cabinet and the council of ministers. The Prime Minister is the chief spokesman of the cabinet and the government. You should remember, he is also the chief coordinator of the both the cabinet and the government. The Prime Minister in a parliamentary democracy is normally a leader of standing in the country. If he is already not a leader, he becomes one with experience. Therefore, parliamentary democracy with a cabinet government is often termed as prime ministerial government. You all know that India is a democratic country. It has a special position in the world. Some say that India is called as the second highest democratic country of the world. There are three articles written in the Constitution of India. Article 74, Article 75, and Article 78. These three articles have elaborated the powers, duties, and responsibilities of the Prime Minister of India. According to Article 74, there shall be a council of ministers with the Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President, who shall, in the exercise of his functions, act in accordance with such advice. This is the language of Article 74. I mean that there are two heads in India, figurehead or nominal head, as well as the real head. So the President of India becomes the nominal head or the figurehead. On the other part, the Prime Minister of India, according to Article 74, becomes a real head. So there is much more assimilation in between the President and the Prime Minister in our democracy. So the Prime Minister and the president both go side by side and act according to the principles or provisions of the Constitution of India. This is our good creation. Then Article 75. The Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President, and other ministers shall be also appointed by the President in the advice of the Prime Minister. Again, Article 78, which is the most prominent article. According to Article 78, there are some duties of a Prime Minister as respects the formation of the information to the communication of the information to the President. So there are three important duties of the Prime Minister of India according to Article 78. The first duty is to communicate to the President all decisions of Council of Ministers relating to the administration affairs of the Union and proposals for legislation. This is the number one duty of the Prime Minister. Second duty may be described that to furnish such information relating to the administration of affairs of the Union and proposals for legislation as the President may call for. This is the second duty of the Prime Minister, and according to Article 78, and number 3 duty of the Prime Minister may be described if the President so requires to submit for the consideration of Council of Ministers any matter, for the consideration of Council of Ministers any matter on which a decision of the Council of Ministers decision on which a decision has been taken. I now express this point once again. If the President so requires to submit for the consideration of the Council of Ministers any matter on which a decision has been taken by a minister, but which has not been considered by the council of ministers. These three are the duties and responsibilities of the Prime Minister. So it is the Prime Minister who always communicates the President of India regarding the day-to-day administration as well as some proposals or considerations of Council of Ministers, so that there is much more linkage between the Prime Minister and the President for the smooth running of Indian democracy. This is the Prime Minister of India who always communicates, informs the President regarding the administrative affairs of Indian democracy. So this is the characteristic of Indian parliamentary democracy. So all of such discussions may lead that our Prime Minister is no doubt a dynamic leader, a leader of the nation, a leader who raises his strong voice in the floor of Indian Parliament. So far, the powers and functions of our Prime Minister is concerned, we may note that the Prime Minister must allocate the portfolios, or this may be termed as allocation of portfolios, first power. He is the chairman of the cabinet. What does it mean? The Prime Minister always presides over the cabinet. He is the chairperson who always communicates, who always coordinates all the cabinet ministers and other ministers for the smooth conduct of day-to-day administration and removal of ministers. That is other part of the functions of the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister of India is the chief leader of the country. He is the chief link between the President on one hand and the Council of Ministers on the other hand. Again, I want to say that if the Prime Minister does not satisfy with the activities of a particular minister, so he may reshuffle the portfolio of that minister. That is called reshuffling of portfolios. Again, Chief Minister is the coordinator. He is the chief coordinator, a leader of the nation. If you go abroad, you may know that this fellow, this person is the Prime Minister of India, or so to speak, that the present Prime Minister, so to speak, Narendra Modi, becomes a top leader, becomes the Prime Minister who leads India, who heads India abroad. So, Prime Minister becomes the chief leader of the nation. Remember, the Prime Minister is also the leader of the Parliament. You must remember that when a political party has captured maximum number of seats, so to speak, two-third majority of seats in the Lok Sabha, the leader of the party must be appointed by the president as a prime minister. So he is the leader of the majority party in the parliament. Therefore, we say that he is the real leader of the parliament. Again, we must remember that the power of resolution of parliament lies in prime minister. It is prime minister who can dissolve, who can advise the president for the resolution of Indian parliament. And above all, the prime minister of India is no doubt the director of the foreign affairs. So, the prime minister from time to time visits to many foreign countries and establishes the relationship of India with the foreign countries in regarding with communication, food, education, sanitation, international peace and discipline, etc. So far, India is rated as a most peaceful country and India has propounded the principle of non-violence, which has been come emanated from our father of nation, Bapuji, Mahatma Gandhi. So India is always propagating, highlighting the peace, discipline, and rehabilitation in most of the developed factors. So our Prime Minister must take up such duties and functions, and so it depends on the personality of the Prime Minister. I now remember the first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, APJ Abdul Kalam. So, sorry, Abdul Kalam was the president, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So, there are so many prime ministers who had, during his period of prime ministership, had made India a very stronger nation. So, these are the system, the constitutional provisions, and powers and functions of the Prime Minister of India. Thank you.